In today's video, I am going to read Attorney General Barr's memorandum to the Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons dated March 26, 2020. This will have direct application to federal inmates that are currently incarcerated in the Federal Bureau of Prisons and is the beginning on suggested guidance on how BOP officials will identify possible individuals that can go to home confinement possibly earlier or longer than they normally would going through the normal channels. Welcome to the First Step Act channel. I'm Bruce Cameron, and I'm going to go over some important information with you. Federal Prison Authority helps attorneys and loved ones and defendants with their federal sentence, with their anything to do with the Federal Bureau of Prisons and prison consulting, from time off programs to home confinement to anything pertaining to the First Step Act, elderly release programs, reduction in sentence programs for elderly, expanded home confinement, Second Chance Act, RDAP, anything you can imagine with the federal prison system we deal with. So let me go ahead and read the core part of the memorandum for everybody. Section 1 talks about transfer of inmates to home confinement where appropriate to decrease the risk to their health. One of the BOP's tools is to manage the prison population and keep inmates safe is the ability to grant certain eligible prisoners home confinement in certain circumstances. I'm hereby directing you to prioritize the use of various statutory authorities to grant home confinement for inmates seeking transfer in connection with the COVID-19 pandemic. Many inmates will be safer in BOP facilities where the population is controlled and there is ready access to doctors and medical care. But for some eligible inmates, home confinement might be more effective in protecting their health. In assessing which inmates should be granted home confinement pursuant to this memorandum, you are to consider the totality of circumstances for each individual inmate, the statutory requirements for home confinement, and the following non-exhaustive list of discretionary factors: the age and vulnerability of the inmate to COVID-19 in accordance to CDC guidelines. 2, the security level of the facility currently holding the inmate, with priority given to inmates residing in low and minimum security facilities, camps, that's what I said. The inmate's conduct in prison, with inmates who have engaged in violent or gang-related activity in prison or who have incurred a BOP violation within the last year not receiving a priority. So basically clear conduct, no STG assignment, no gang affiliation. We'll get into guns and firearms later, but okay. Next, the inmate's score under the pattern risk assessment, with inmates who have anything above a minimum score not receiving priority under this memorandum. So if the pattern score is not minimum, you got nothing coming. Well, the inmate has demonstrated a verifiable reentry plan that will prevent recidivism and maximize public safety, including verification that the conditions which the inmate would be confined upon release would present a lower risk of contracting COVID-19 than the inmate would face in his or her BOP facility. Next, the inmate's crime of conviction and assessment of the danger posed by the inmate to the community. Some offenses, such as sex offenses, even the non-contact sex offenders and downloading of images, even those cases are ineligible for home detention. Okay, you still have a public safety factor, etc. Other serious offenses should weigh more heavily against consideration for home detention. We can talk about those if you contact us later. In addition to considering these factors before granting any inmate discretionary release, the BOP medical director or someone or designee will, based on CDC guidance, make an assessment of the inmate's risk factors for severe COVID-19 illness, risks of COVID-19 at the inmate's prison facility, as well as the risks of COVID-19 at the location in which the inmate seeks to release to, where they're going to do home confinement. We should not grant home confinement to inmates when doing so is likely to increase their risk of contracting COVID-19. So they're not going to release them to a high exposure area. You should grant home confinement only when BOP is determined, based on the totality of the circumstances for each individual inmate, that transfer to home confinement is likely not to increase the inmate's risk of contracting COVID-19. Okay, so that's basically the core of it. So we have this was the first part. The CARES Act, which is now recently passed, is another piece of it. And then the BOP will be receiving a guidance from the director, and it'll start to trickle down into the units and to the case managers, and we'll try to be on top of that and give you updates as necessary. So if your loved one is going through this time and they might meet the criteria, minimum security, maybe releasing in 2020 or early 2021, give us a call, 214-431-2032, or send us an email, federalprisonauthority.bop@gmail.com. Our website's federalprisonauthority.com, where we have some information there for you. Stay tuned to the First Step Act channel, and also join our Facebook group, First Step Act Federal Prison Reform on Facebook. So it's a good community with a lot of information. I put this information on the Facebook as well as the YouTube as I figure this out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time here on the First Step Act Federal Prisoner Reform channel. Take care, everybody.